Welcome back to Phillips Hot Rod Garage. All right guys, I'm back with another video on the Model A Special Coupe project. What was that? It's about time? Yeah, you're right. It's been forever since I've been able to work on this car, but I'm back. I got some patch panels to go in the passenger side door, so let's just go ahead and not waste any time this week. I gave you guys a shop tour last week. That was enough wasting time. So let's go ahead and pull the door off, see if we can get these patches to fit this week. I don't know how far we're going to get, but we're going to work and get as much done as we can. All right, so I guess first thing I need is a punch to knock these pins out. Let me grab one of those. All right, I've had these out several times, so it should not be an issue getting them all out. There we go. And oh yeah, before I forget, I got a mail call segment that I got to do in this video. That's right, we've got mail. All right, so let's check it out and see what we got. I got a package here from Brian in Smyrna, Delaware. Brian, I really do appreciate you sending the package out to me. We've been chatting back and forth on Messenger a little bit on Facebook. And we got to talking about some stuff, and he offered to send me this, and so I'm going to show you guys what it is. There it is, guys. The complete Chrysler Hemi engine manual. Been wanting this book for a while. Brian, I really do appreciate it. You know, there's some great folks in this world, and I'm gonna tell you, Brian's a good guy. This book is very expensive. It has gotten to be really expensive. So I wasn't gonna buy a copy. It's out of print. But Brian and I got to talking about these old Hemis. You know, I got 3 of these DeSoto Hemis. One of them's going in the coupe, and I've been wanting to read this book. And Brian told me he had it and offered to send it to me. And I am truly grateful for that, Brian, because now I can read this book. I've been wanting to read it for a while. Thanks for the mail. All right, guys, let's get started on the door. All right, so we got a patch for the outside, and we've got one to go on the inside of the door. So as you can see, we got quite a bit of rust down here along the bottom, and it's pretty typical of what you'll see on most Model A doors nowadays, especially if they've spent any time at all out in the weather. You're going to see that. And also on the inside, the bottom of it is rusted away. I mean, not completely rusted away, but it does have a good bit of rust in it. So here's a close-up view of what we're working with here. Now if I was to sandblast that, a whole lot more holes would open up in that, because that is pretty thin. But this piece will take care of that. Now I'll probably run into some holes here on these corners. Nobody makes patches for these, and you really don't need patches for that. It's just flat pieces. Anybody can make that. But what's going to happen is I'm going to cut this piece out, and then I'll cut the outer skin off, and then what's left sticking down right here, I'll sandblast this area and see how many holes open up in that. Then I'll do any repair work that needs to be done. I can already see right there it's got some holes in it already. So that's going to have to be repaired before this is welded together. And I'll probably end up with the same thing on this end. This end looks fairly solid though. It might be okay. Hopefully it is. But I know the other side's got some holes in it. So that's what we got to do. Now before I get started on all of that, I think I want to go ahead and remove this inside door handle rod and this window crank handle, and probably just take the window regulator out. That way this thing will sit flat down on my work table. We'll spray some of this, what is this stuff? Seafoam Deep Creep penetrating oil around these little bolts right here, or screws. See if I can get those things loose. Now the good thing about the window regulator is somebody has already loosened it up in the past. The bolts are already loose. I'll go ahead and spray some of this around there anyway, but I feel like they're just gonna come right out. Haven't tried them yet, but they are loose, so whoever did that helped me out on that deal. You know, I'm kind of surprised that that window regulator works. I just assumed I was gonna have to replace them. But guys, that one might work. I don't know, we'll see. That'll be for a future endeavor. Not worried about that today. Let me try something else. Well, there you go, guys. When in doubt, break the vice grips out. That'll get it. Now these may not come out quite so easy, because I don't think they've been loosened up any. Oh, would you look at that? That's hard to believe. Almost no bolts have come out of this car without breaking the whole time I've been working on this project. So to have a couple of these to come out is like a miracle. All right. Where was that? Right there. All right, so that's got everything out now, except for the latch assembly, and I'm gonna leave it for now. We'll go ahead and get started on this. Oh, there's one more of those big screws right here. I missed one. So we'll leave the latch assembly in for now. I'll come back to it later and get it out, because I got to get the outer door handle off and all. I don't know. I might need to go ahead and do that now, because this thing's not sitting flat because of that handle. Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. Get it over with. How about that? Let's just get it done. All right. All right, so what holds a door handle in on a Model A? I don't think anything does. I think it should come out pretty easy. I might better get a light. Oh, I see now. Yeah, y'all might want to see this. All right, look right here. See that square part right there? That's the end of the handle. That's got to turn before it'll come out of the latch. All I gotta do is twist it and it should come right out. I'm gonna try to bump it with this punch and see if it'll move. There we go. Just that little bit of bumping helped. Yep, there it is, guys. All right, I got something else I'm gonna use. That right there. All right, I bought this a little while back because I just knew I was gonna need it. And sure enough, I need it. And that should work great. It's just an impact driver. It's a real good quality piece. You can get these from China if you want, but this is a good one. A real good one. So hopefully it's going, yep, it's going in the right direction. So all I need with this is a big hammer. It should get them out. Oh yeah, it's definitely turning. Yep, it's working good. Oh yeah, 2 of them turned. 3 of them turned. Last one, let's hope it works just as good as the other 3. All right, that one's not moving as well as the other 3, but it is moving. So hopefully that's good enough to get it to turn with a screwdriver. All right, that one worked. One came out. And I already sprayed both sides with penetrating oil. So that one's been a little stubborn. And now that the threads are exposed, it should get in there a little easier. All right, last one. Yep, that one's gonna take some more beating, guys. More beating with a hammer. There it is. All 4 of them are out. Well, I would have expected that to come out a little easier. Well, I don't want to bend the door to get it out. And there is no way that you would have to do this on a nice shiny car to get it out. So I don't know. I know it doesn't come out like that. Maybe you're supposed to pull the pin so the mechanism comes out. Maybe that's it. So the latch part here comes out. I don't know, but that was a tight squeeze getting it out, and you'd damage the paint trying to do that if the car was already painted. So yeah, I gotta definitely figure out the trick to getting the latches in and out, because I got it out, but that was not the correct way to do it. So all right, on to the next project. All right, so I think the thing to do will be to take some measurements. All right, I need to get a couple of final marks here. This piece, I'm gonna line up the center hole here with the hole in the door here. Gonna line that up just like that. And then I'm going to mark where this piece lines up so I can put it back exactly where it is. I'm gonna mark these ends so I'll know how to center this piece up once I cut the old one off. So that's it. I think I'll cut it. Hope for the best. Gotta have some safety glasses. All right, so I've got some cuts made here on the ends now. So I think what I want to do next is go ahead and get these rivets out, and then I want to go ahead and grind through the skin. I'm going to grind through the edge of the skin here so that the inner piece, the part that's folded over, will separate from the outer skin. That way I'll have my skin in place so I can cut this piece down to fit. This piece is actually a little bit too long on this bottom edge right here. So I think if I leave the outside skin in place, I'll be able to cut this to fit back in its original location down here. Once I get this cut to fit and get it to fit in the door as it should, then I think I can cut my outer skin off. So that's how I'm gonna do it. I don't know how everybody else would do it, but that's how I'm gonna handle this situation. I think it'll work. Now this is actually a clip removal tool, but those actually work pretty good for all kind of different random tasks. So they'll work. It'll work. All right, I got it. But guys, I took the long way around on that deal. I could have already had that off a lot quicker. But the reason why I took the long way around was to protect that edge. And I'm gonna bring you in a little bit closer and show you what I'm talking about. You can see very clearly exactly now where the inner and the outer piece are supposed to fit together. So what I can do, now that I have preserved my outer skin, I've got a good location to go by for putting this piece in. I can just put this piece on. Of course, I got to get the rest of the old piece out here, but I can put the new piece up here. When I get it sitting in place, I can just mark it along the outside skin, cut it off along that line, and it should just drop right down in there exactly where it needs to go, just like factory. That's my plan. I'm sticking to it. Got it. It came out quite nicely. So now it's time to fit the new one. All right, guys, I think that I've got this end cut pretty close, but I think I'm going to trim this end a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and clamp it on this side. See if I can get it lined up and clamped here. And yeah, this side right here has definitely got to be trimmed some more. Trying to mark it with a pen, I don't think that's gonna work. I need to get a scribe so I can see a good scribe line in that rust. Yeah, that's it. It's working good. All right, I should be able to trim it along that line now. Then it should fit right down in there. All right, so now what we're gonna do, gonna test fit this piece and then take a couple of measurements. And if it fits good and the measurements are correct, then we will mark the outer skin to know where to trim this piece. Guys, I'm feeling real good about this. Feeling real good about it. Everything's going great so far. All right, guys, so this side right here fits real nice. Nothing wrong with this at all. I mean, I do have some rust I have to deal with right here. I got to put a little patch in right here. I should have enough metal that I cut off here to use to make a little patch. So that won't be a big deal. This all looks real good. But the other side, not so much. This side here just doesn't fit exactly right. So that means I got to hammer on it a little bit. I'm gonna take some of this bend out right here. Just kind of angle this piece out just a little bit so it matches up more with that old existing part of the door there. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. Gonna hammer on that a little bit, and then hopefully that thing will fit like it should then. All right, that's it, guys. Let me show it to you. All right, so as you can see, this part here looks pretty good now. I got it nice and flush. That'll weld up pretty good. But now originally you could still see the weld right here and on the other side. Henry Ford's crew didn't grind all that down and make it all flush. They actually just left the weld. So it's probably gonna look better when I get done than it did from the factory. But I'm really happy with the way this panel's turning out. These aftermarket pieces usually don't fit that good, but that piece is actually fitting a lot better than I expected. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do now is take a couple of measurements, make sure everything's perfect. Then I'm gonna go ahead and mark the length that this needs to be so I can cut this off to the right length. And then I guess we'll be about to wrap it up for that inside piece. So I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be able to just mark this right along that line, cut it inside the line so that I cut the line off. It needs to be a little shorter than the line so that it fits inside. So if I just cut it off right there, that should do it. I don't see any reason why it won't. So we're gonna go for it. I think that ought to do it, guys. All right, guys, it's just not gonna work out. Thought I could cut it with those because it will leave a little bit nicer edge, but or a nicer cut line, but it's not gonna work because it's just too hard to cut. These things just don't have enough guts for doing this. They're just not big enough. But before I quit, I'm gonna be really stubborn and try this pair. Since they're new, they might just be a little sharper. I have my doubts, but we're gonna see. Well, I should not have doubted them. That is much better. I guess those others are just dull. Okay then. Ow. That did not feel good. A little sharp piece got me. That happens sometimes. You know, somebody got on to me the other day for not wearing gloves. They might be right. That might actually help. Got it. All right, let's check the fit now. Well, I guess that's about it, guys. I think I'll move these. Put these down here. All right. Guys, that looks really good. Here it is up close. Fits in there well. Of course, I got to patch that still. But I don't think it's going to get much better than that, guys. That looks real good. Pretty nice seam across there. Yep. All right, so everything's looking good, guys. I'm pleased with the way that looks. So I think the thing to do now is going to be go ahead and tack weld this piece in. I don't foresee having to take it back out at all. So I'm going to tack weld this piece in, get it fitting in there just like it should be. I'm not going to fully weld it, just going to tack it in place just in case it has to be cut back out for any reason. But I'm going to tack that in, and then I'm going to cut the skin off and see about getting the new skin to fit onto the door. Once I get the new skin where it'll fit, I'm not going to hammer it on or weld it on until I get the door sandblasted. So I got a few rust holes I got to fix. I know I do, but instead of fixing them now, I'm just going to get everything to fit on these patches, blast it, and see how many holes open up from the sandblaster before I start trying to weld up little rusty pinholes. So that's the thing to do. So let's go ahead and tack weld this in, and then we'll get the skin to fit, and we're going to be getting down to the short roads on this project. Looking good. All right, guys, I got it looking pretty good. Got it tacked in place. Got it fitting up flush on both sides. So now it's going to be time to get started on the outside skin. But guys, I guess I'll just save putting the outer piece in for the next video. Getting the door disassembled and getting the inner panel put in was a major accomplishment. So in the next video, we'll go ahead and try to get this piece to fit, figure out exactly how we want to put this in and get it to fit, get all the sandblasting done, and get all the rust repair on the inner panel done on the corners that need to be took care of. But I got called away from this week. Didn't get quite as much work done as I wanted to get done. But since my buddy Eric came over and helped me install my lift, I promised him a little bit of time working on his car. So he brought his car over this week, and we actually raised the car up with a set of lowering springs. I know that sounds odd, but it had a set of springs on here that had been cut, and it was way too low, wasn't enjoyable to drive at all. So we put a set of lowering springs on there that made the car sit just right. We replaced the shocks on the back, we replaced the motor mounts, we fixed some exhaust pipe issues, we fixed some header bolts that were loose, transmission bolts that were loose. What all did we do? Let's see. We replaced the freeze plug that was leaking. So it has been a ton of work this week. New sway bar bushings, new sway bar end links. I don't know what all we did. We did a lot of work to it, but it's a pretty decent little car. 93 5.0. Eric's about to change the wheels on this thing and get something that fits a little better. And then I got to get it down to the alignment shop, and then he's ready to cruise this thing a little bit. So that's what we've been doing this week, guys. It's been a busy, long, hard week, but it feels good to have the Model A headed in the right direction. We got some work done on the door. We're planning on finishing the door up in the next video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out to the end of the video. See you guys in the next one.